part, we'll start understanding the impact of stress. What is it that stress really does to us? In the first section, we understood stress as having two important components. One was the psychological perception, and the other was the physical symptoms. Now, let's see what these physical symptoms are. I'm sure a lot of you have often felt them, a lot of you have gone through them, and let us try and see how they really impact us. Here. Okay. Now, first look at the body and the physical symptoms. You see that stress actually impacts and creates certain sort of a pressure on almost the entire body. It can create depression, heart disease, as known to actually be a, something that actually starts making diabetes an illness, obesity, a weakened immune system, fatigue, drug use, overeating, binge drinking, muscle pain, smoking, and difficulty of managing emotions. Stress is something that actually starts taking a toll on almost all our areas of functioning: social, psychological, and physical. I will go into a great amount of detail of all of these three because we really have to stop taking stress lightly. We have to stop saying that, well, everyone is stressed and it's okay for me to be stressed. Or I don't care and I don't need to manage this. I'll go over a small story, a small little case study that will also help you understand that how intrinsically our mind and body are completely related. Research, in fact, in the last decade has now gone beyond doubt to prove that stress actually plays an extremely important role both in the diagnosis, in the impact, and in the getting better, the prognosis of an illness. So, one of these stories that struck me as something that I must share was a personal experience of two women who, at almost the similar age, were diagnosed with breast cancer. Both of them were almost at the same stage, same age, had two children each, and had almost the similar prognosis when they went to the doctor. One of them had amazing support system, was a very positive person, and dealt with her stressors as and when they came up. Our participant B actually was someone who got extremely stressed, also did not have a very good support network, started taking to the diagnosis very negatively. And while the prognosis of both of these patients to begin with was almost similar, patient A improved much faster, lived much longer and healthier than patient B, who actually was for longer times in the hospital, felt it very difficult to cope with everything that an illness had to offer and bring to her. We understand that our own cognitive understanding, our own psychological reactions to some physical symptoms also have a great deal of role to play in how these start resolving themselves. Let us go to the diagram on the left. So, social, psychological, and physical. Let me start with the more easy one, the brain body connection, the physical symptoms. Don't ignore back pain. Don't ignore headaches. Don't ignore muscle tension. All of these are your body's way of telling you that there is stress lurking somewhere. Start taking action, start finding out why is this headache happening and start doing something about it. Some simple ways of starting to deal with headaches is increasing your water intake. Start to see a doctor. Is it a migraine headache? Is it being caused by the long hours that you're spending in front of the screen? Is it being caused by a weak eyesight? Is it something that there is a physical underlying symptom that is causing it? Or is it something that is being caused by tensions that I'm having? Body pain, back pain, stomach ulcers, throat aches, the low immunity levels, all of these are caused, are things that have a deep relation to stress. Another important thing about our lifestyle and mind body connection is the amount of food that we start putting into our system. We tend to either overeat or actually start not responding to hunger by food. So, stress actually comes in between food and satiation. So, what happens actually is that you're hungry and you don't eat, or you are not hungry and you keep stress eating, binging on food, overeating on food, and then it starts leading to other complications. Let's come to the psychological. Psychologically, stress has an impact on our emotional and cognitive processes. Emotional processes, we are unable to channelize our emotions. Our expression of emotions either gets very exaggerated. So when we get angry, we become very irritable, loud, and want to do damage either verbally or physically. So we want to break things, we want to slap someone hard, we want to scream very badly, or sometimes just cry out loud, right? Emotions become difficult to handle. Even positive emotions actually start becoming difficult. So, something happy can actually throw you completely off balance. You feel so happy that you are unable to restrict both the understanding and expression of that happiness. Hmm? Stress also starts impacting cognitive functioning. Now, what do we mean by the impact of stress on cognitive function? A simple everyday example, we start forgetting small little details. We start forgetting things that we were going to do. We start forgetting people's names or important tasks that we were going to accomplish. Sometimes the ability to take in material that is coming from outside. So when I'm stressed and I'm thinking of something else and driving, I will take much longer to see a child trying to run and cross the road than if I am completely alert. So, actually, stress starts impacting our ability to cognize the world around us. Important mechanisms of cognition that actually start getting uh, disturbed by stress are intake, memory, our ability to solve problems, problem solving, and also our ability to remember new information. And psychological impact actually often goes unnoticed for the first few instances till it actually starts becoming serious. The third important impact of stress starts happening on our social relationships, the way we interact with other people, what we start demanding from other people, and how we want to be looked at. If you look at the diagram carefully, these do not operate in isolation. Our physical, psychological, and social are actually constantly interacting and coexisting. So if I'm not feeling too good in my body, I'm not going to feel very good in my mind and in my heart, and that is not going to help me develop and maintain positive, good relationships. All of these three interact. The good positive part is that we can actually start managing, or we can actually start conquering stress at any of these three levels, whichever we find healthiest for ourselves to approach and the easiest to start forming a change from. So if you think you have positive social support, start from there. If you think you have a better control on your physical variables, that's where you can begin from. And if you think you have a good understanding of the psychological aspect of stress, you can actually begin from there. And when we start correcting any one of them, it starts having an impact on all three of them. So that is what is the good part of the interaction. The negative part of the interaction is that these are not islands. These will impact our entire being, our entire functioning, right? Don't let stress go unnoticed. reflect, think, and just ask yourselves, am I doing this because there is a little bit of stress lurking somewhere inside of me? The trick is to actually capture, understand, and respond at your earliest before it becomes too big, before it becomes unmanageable, and before it assumes monstrous proportions. Stress starts mostly small and then starts growing slowly and gradually inside of us. Some stress, well, can be sudden, a sudden diagnosis, a sudden physical calamity, a sudden illness that comes amidst us, a sudden loss of a loved one, loss of job, something that almost throws you off balance and then has an impact on all three of these variables suddenly. That is possible. And you should start integrating it and understanding where is this coming from and how can I start responding best to it. So once we understand what stress is, what it causes, we are better prepared to manage and deal with it. End of part 2.